please stand for the opening prayer and pledge.
Father in heaven, bless us as we gather today for this meeting. Guide our minds and hearts so that we will work for the good of our community. Teach us to be generous in our outlook, courageous in the face of difficulty, and wise in our decisions. Thy will be done. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hancock County Commission will come to order this Thursday, February 9th at 2:30 p.m. Roll call.
Mr. President, all Hancock County Commissioners are present.
Thank you. Okay. Approval of the minutes.
Move to approve the minutes of January 26, 2017.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Do you have any government agencies here to do presentations today? Okay. Correspondence. Laura Beckelheimer, Executive Director of Brooke County Committee on Aging, requesting $10,000 to enhance the meals program in Hancock County. Gentlemen, I'll accept the motion that we make this a matter of record, put it into the request that we have for next budget year.
I move to make it a matter of record.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Under old business, Clean Air Act. I'll accept the motion that we table this item.
I move that we table the item.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Under the next item here, we have, I'm going to put these two together. We have correspondence from Charles Webb with Webb Law Office and also Fitzsimmons Law Office. At our last meeting, we had two articles for you to look over, Counselor.
That's correct. I took a look at those, and either one would be acceptable to the commission if it so chose to pursue the matter. And just for the commission, in brief, what this was, in 2016, there was a settlement by the West Virginia Attorney General's office with pharmaceutical companies. I believe the amount was around $47 million. Now, that related to the state and regarding opioid use and basically what is referred to as pill dumping in the state and the costs and damages that were the state incurred based upon that. These two matters, one from two separate law firms, relates to a class action lawsuit that each firm proposes for the basis of certain counties, not the state itself. Counties are separate. So, yeah, the state had its matter, does not necessarily include the counties. This would involve counties in each situation, sometimes municipalities. If Hancock County chose to be a part of either of those class actions being proposed, it could sign either contract. They both look pretty standard. Nothing is surprising there, so either one would be acceptable. It's just a matter of preference to the commission.
Gentlemen, we also had the opportunity to look at both of these.
Yes.
Desire?
I make a motion to pull items B and C from old business.
Would there be a need to pull it from old business?
Was
We didn't table the item. We gave it to you to review for us.
Yeah, I don't know that it was necessarily tabled, so I don't think there's really necessarily a need to table. But if as a precaution, if you want to just make that motion and vote on it, that's perfectly fine.
All right. We'll accept the motion to pull the two items from the table.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Before us, we have the two items dealing with Charles Webb Law Firm, Fitzsimmons Law Firm, GKT Law Office, Guida Law Office on the drug manufacturing lawsuits.
I would motion that we hire the Fitzsimmons Law Firm, GKT Attorneys at Law, and Guida Law Officers to represent us in the drug manufacturing lawsuit.
Any further discussion, gentlemen?
Seeing that these three law offices are Northern Panhandle law offices, including one which is basically Hancock County, I see no reason to go further downstate, although I have no problem with any of them. I just feel that we should stay as local as we can. And if these are the same, so there's no savings of money with either firm.
Correct.
Okay. Motion is to accept Fitzsimmons. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. General County Budget Revision number 2 for the fiscal year 16-17.
So it's just a 6 and 7 month review of the budget. We adjusted the unencumbered and did some reclassification. Make some modifications in line items.
Okay. I'll accept the motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
All in favor?
Are we staying pretty close to our projected budgets?
Yes.
Seems like we're,
We have some increases in utilities and
Right.
things like that.
which are things you can't really calculate exactly.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Under new business, approval of proclamation recognizing the week of February 7th through the 14th is Congenital Heart Defect Awareness Week. I believe we have with us Julie Wilson. Julie, would you like to come up to the mic, please, and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Julie Wilson. I'm a resident of Weirton. This is my son Connor. I'm what we call a heart mom. My son Connor was born with multiple congenital heart defects, which required 2 heart surgeries when he was less than a month old. February is known across America as Heart Month, and from February 7th to the 14th every year, it's called Congenital Heart Defect Awareness Week. So it's a special week to raise awareness for kiddos and patients that have congenital heart defects, which affect approximately 1 in 100 births in the United States a year, which is almost 40,000 babies in the U.S. in a year are born with CHDs, we call them congenital heart defects. So I don't know what else.
Well, thank you. We have a proclamation here. And, gentlemen, I'll accept the motion that we sign the proclamation as presented.
I move that we approve the proclamation recognizing weeks February 7th through 14th as Congenital Heart Defect Awareness Week in honor of Connor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Here's the proclamation, gentlemen. If you'd like to sign it. The motion before us is to approve it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job, Connor.
Want a picture of that?
Next item before us, approval to appoint Jeff Oyster as a liaison with Tomlinson PSD and the Hancock County Commission.
I move that we appoint Jeff Oyster as a liaison.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval to appoint Charles Huff, Charles Pugh, and John Yacina, along with Tom Salvetti and Robert Coper, to the Tomlinson PSD.
I make a motion to approve the appointments of the 5 aforementioned names to the Tomlinson PSD.
Discussion? We had this on the agenda last week. The reason that we actually have all 5 listed now is because the Grant Tomlinson PSD is 1 as of now, so all board members needed to be reappointed. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval release of deed of trust for the following individuals as a 5-year lien has lapsed. Eric A. Young, and Dawn C. Young.
Move to approve.
Discussion? This program here is the Home Consortium program that's offered through Change Incorporated. So they've completed their time period. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of an updated mileage reimbursement for year 2017, which is 53.5 cents per business mile.
Move to approve.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Circuit Clerk's Office requesting approval to hire Jonna Petaway for the full-time position as Deputy Clerk effective February 16, 2017.
I'll move to approve to hire Rhonda Petaway, full-time position Deputy Clerk.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Requesting approval to hire Ray Zateslo for part-time position of Deputy Clerk effective February 1, 2017.
Move to approve.
Discussion?
Yeah, just real quick for public interest. Mr. Tesla is retiring, and due to someone being off in the clerk's office, she has agreed to stay on as part-time until that person is released from the doctor. So last week we accepted her resignation, and today we're just hiring her as part-time. She's more than willing to help out the 6 to 8 weeks time frame that's allotted. And it will be huge because Ms. Petaway, although she has court experience, will be new to the position also. So just to clarify, hey, she resigned last week, retired, now you put her back. But that's the reason.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Dog Warden, approval of the January 2017 monthly report.
Move to approve.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Office of Technology and Communications, requesting approval of the resignation of Mary Saranovic effective January 26, 2017.
Move to approve.
Discussion? I'd like to thank Mary for her service here. She was helpful to a lot of citizens when she came in. When you come in the front door, she'd down there to greet and chat with you. So thank Mary for her service. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Requesting approval to apply for the 2016 EMPG grant.
Move to approve.
Discussion? One of you gentlemen want to just give us a little update on the grant?
This is just a yearly grant. 50% of allowable expenses match. It's something we just do every year.
Okay. And Jeremy, generally what would this equate to dollar-wise for the county?
Around $100,000.
Okay, motion on the floor is to approve. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Requesting approval to hire Emily Bond as part-time dispatcher effective February 1st, 2017.
Move to approve.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of probates and estates.
They have been reviewed and are recommended for approval as to form.
Gentlemen, I'll accept the motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of exoneration orders.
There was only
Move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of general county bills.
General county bills were $63,357.57. Pay card payments were $11,772.14. January expenditures for all funds was $957,827.98.
I move we pay the bills.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of animal shelter levy fund bills and requisitions.
Move to approve.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of library levy fund bills and requisitions.
All three libraries submitted and they're okay to pay.
Move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the shelter workshop levy fund bills and requisitions.
We received 2 requisitions, they're okay to pay.
Move to approve.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Citizens' remarks. Today we have, I'll go in the order of how they were signed up. Patrick Arnaud, he's here to discuss the smoking ban. Patrick, take the mic, please.
I lost a fight with a tree branch. I didn't get in a fight, so that would explain that. I understand the Clean Air Act motion was tabled, but on behalf of our company, I wanted to at least address a few issues with the committee on timing. We've met with over 12 companies that were looking at locating in this area on the Mountain Air property, ranging from food and beverage to actually heavy retail, and most recently several oil and gas cracker type logistics companies. Our concern is there's a sense of urgency and time is of the essence with this issue. At some point, as the rings develop with the cracker plant, everyone's going to find a home. All these businesses will have a location. We're just trying to ensure Hancock County is in the best position and our property is in the best position to leverage that. Key concerns are obviously the economic impact and the future of Mountaineer. One case we met with a business who, quite honestly, their concern was, do they have a place to conduct business? Number of hotel rooms, number of restaurants, and most importantly is the convention center and the meeting rooms. I mean, Hancock County's got so many assets, but can you conduct large-scale business? Because almost all these cracker constituents and logistics companies are international. So that's a key component to them. So I would just urge that there's a sense of urgency, and time is of the essence on this issue. We need to enable the county to get some economic impact from this development, because they're not building cracker plants, and we're not going to be in this position every year. We put in our presentation, which I probably should have brought, Hancock County's got so many assets, 37 some miles of riverfront. We have a great sheriff's department. We have low crime rate. We have a good board of education, a good reputation for schools. But we're lacking on infrastructure. We're concerned about the municipalities being able to manage that infrastructure and improve it. And we're worried about the traffic count on Route 2, because that's what's going to drive the growth and the maintenance for Mountaineer, which is going to drive our capability to bring in new businesses, especially as they're related to the cracker plant and oil and gas. So I would just ask that take under consideration that there is an expiration date to where this impact probably won't help if we don't reach that point. So thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Nick Busick.
First, thanks for letting me address this county commission. This morning I was kind of shocked when I got an email from Rita Hawkins, coordinator of Brooke Hancock County Family Resource Center. And in that email, it expressed wanting us to come up and support the Clean Air Act because the county commissioners were going to rescind it. Well, back in 2014, I went up and I spoke in front, and I am absolutely opposed to this Clean Air Act. And what shocked me was when I went to that meeting with the health board, one of the first things they said was the county commissioners have nothing to do with this. They have no say-so whatsoever in it. And I'm sitting here and I'm reading that email this morning, and I says, how can this possibly happen? So, and as I researched this throughout the day to come speak to you folks, there's evidently some question about the legality of this health board and how it was set up. And if there's some question about that, is this Clean Air Act even enforceable? Do they even have the authority to do that? And if in fact the county commissioners have the ability to control that health board, then we have to look, and Patrick was mentioning it, but we have to look at the future of this county. Now, I'm not in favor of walking into Tri-State Pharmacy or LB's, or LB's in here, okay, Eden Park. I'm showing my age here. But I mean, who wants to have a cigarette burn in your face if you're grabbing something to eat? I don't, for sure I don't. However, when you look at the numbers and you see how this has affected the cafes, Mountaineer Casino, the number of job losses, okay? As I said in the last meeting, I was employed by Mountaineer from 97 to 2008. I remember when that company went from 30 machines up to what we have now, a big fitness center, okay? All this was supported because of these activities. I had the honor of being able to walk out with the Weir High wrestling team down at the OVAX, and I'm looking around and I see kids coaching that I coached when they were this big. And then I look and I say, some of these kids have to leave this area because they don't have jobs. I don't know the exact number on how many jobs Mountaineer has lost or how many people have been lost with the cafes that needed this work to support their families, but it's substantial. So that's very damaging. Then we have the tax revenue. I don't have the exact numbers, but you guys know better than I do. That's substantial. When you start affecting what tax revenue we have coming in, not only to the county, but to the state, but more importantly here to the county, what's going to happen with the sheriff's office here when they need budgeted money? We got kids packing it in left and right over here from overdoses. If you had some revenue in here, some tax revenue, maybe the sheriff can come to you guys and say, hey, we need this to start a rehab program, keep some of these kids from dying. And that's just an example. That's just an example. The Clean Air Act, the way it's written, doesn't make any sense. A reasonable person would say, wait a minute, we're losing here. We're not benefiting. We're not benefiting. If somebody doesn't want to walk into a casino because they have smoking, then don't go to the casino. If you don't want to, let the owner of the cafe decide whether he's going to make it smoking or non-smoking. And what about all the little sponsorships that these cafes do, that Mountaineer does for your baseball? For me, the youth wrestling, I'm a big proponent of wrestling. I always bring that up. Okay? What about Oak Glen? They tore the fitness center down because they lost all the jobs. Oak Glen was playing their tennis up there. We had senior citizens up there working out. We all the way down to the kids. That's just some of the stuff. So we can't set up our businesses to fail. Now, again, the only decent argument I heard when I went to that meeting in 2014 was a lady got up and talked about cancer. How she lost somebody to cancer. And when it wasn't too long after, I got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. So I understand where the passion comes from people that oppose it because of health issues. However, when you walk in that casino, even when I was back up there was sections of non-smoking. You couldn't smell the smoke. You have all kind of, from my understanding, is Mountaineer even back then was willing to put super kryptonite air fresheners and air purifiers and be reasonable. But my understanding, again, is they wouldn't hear it. And I don't understand why they hear it. So I question, first of all, the legality of why would they even say the county commissioners weren't involved? I just took that as gospel back then. And then I get this email this morning, and it says that you guys are looking to rescind this. You have the opportunity to rescind it. Well, I strongly encourage you to rescind it. It's in the best interest. And why does this come up either? Is it personal revenge? Is it political motivated? Makes no sense. We got to act in the best interest of what's for this community and what's going to help this community. And the Clean Air Act does not benefit this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Jackie Huff.
Oh, sorry. Can you pass this down? Well, I was happy to hear them change from smoking ban to clean air regulation through Patrick and Nick's conversation to you guys briefly here a minute ago. Because we aren't banning smoking, we're just telling them to take it outside where people don't have to exhibit the ill effects of secondhand smoke. So I'll start by saying that. The second part I want to comment on is we are a Board of Health appointed to uphold legislator of the West Virginia Code for the Bureau of Public Health. Nothing else is stated that the board is responsible for but upholding public's health. I have before me two things today. And I should say that I'm the administrator of the Hancock County Health Department, and I'm here on behalf of the Board of Health today to address you. We had a meeting, and Mr. Barnaby attended our Board of Health meeting on Tuesday. He explained some things as to why you possibly were proceeding with the order. I see that it's tabled. I think it's probably due to some legislative actions going on at the state presently. But for that time frame of it being untabled or brought back up again, due to the due diligence that you requested that you need to proceed with this in obtaining private counsel, we as the Board of Health would also request that at that time. Being under the county realm of the county commission, we also want private counsel due to the recusal of the prosecuting attorney. I reference code 741 that states attorneys to attend to civil suits in such county in which the state or any department, commission, or board that is interested in to advise, attend, to bring, prosecute, defend, as in the case be all matters, actions, suits, and proceeding in which such county or county board of education is interested. If unable to represent, the prosecuting attorneys are unable, the county court, now called county commission, is authorized to pay for the services of an attorney when the prosecuting attorney is unable or prohibited from doing so. So on behalf of my Board of Health, I will request that of the county commission today, that we would like to seek private legal counsel as you do. Second of all, with that being said, we have received a letter of legal opinion regarding the order. I am not going to go through each and every item. Last meeting, I presented to you two other legal opinions to pose. This one is actually from Kay, Casto, and Cheney, attorneys of law. John Hoblitzel is the attorney who's presented this legal opinion. He is also the attorney that has upheld 12 legal clean air regulations throughout the state of West Virginia. His opinion is based on Mr. Arnaud, and that was Ted, not Patrick at the time, that presented to you the order. The premise of the proposed order is a novel and unsupported legal theory of reverse preemption, permitting an inferior government body to the Hancock County Commission to overrule a legislative enactment by a superior governmental authority, the West Virginia legislature. It goes on to say, directed to the Board of Health must be consistent with the state public health laws passed by legislative West Virginia code, embodies this limitation on the authority of a county commission in statute. In other words, the authority of the county commission is to direct an action, and in this case, they're directing an inaction. He goes on to say, it is clear to me that the West Virginia legal precedent is unequivocal in its support of the statutory authority of local boards of health to implement clean indoor air regulations. He further goes on to discuss the preemptions and how the LVL statements in the order do not apply with these preemption rules. It is always presumed in regard to a statute that no absurd or unreasonable result was intended by the legislature. So simply put, he adds, the proposed order, which has been offered to the Hancock County Commission, exceeds the authority of the County Commission, is inconsistent with state law, and relies on overly broad interpretation of statutes. It is unsupported by legal precedent. As a result, the proposed order would have no binding effect on the Board of Health. If passed by the County Commission, it should be challenged in a declaratory judgment action. Hopefully, the Hancock County Commission will seek an unbiased legal review of the proposed order before so flagrantly disregards state law regarding the implementation of clean air regulations. My board has asked me to read this to you, and I think it's pretty clear what the action, if the order would be signed, what we intend to do. Thank you. Also, just to add a little, along with the legal opinion I have for you, smoke-free policies do not hurt the hospitality. These are fact sheets, facts from the CDC and studies done. Ventilation does not effectively protect non-smokers. Smoke-free policies improve air quality in hospitality settings. Smoke-free policies reduce smoking. Smoke-free policies improve health. The health consequences of involuntary exposure to secondhand smoke. 50 years of progress, Surgeon General's report. These are factual data compiled. These aren't numbers that I'm pulling out of the air. These are actual facts. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Donna, you're next.
I'm a little cold, so I'm going to make this real short. I do also work for the Hancock County Health Department, and I am a taxpayer in Hancock County. And I want to thank you, Commissioner Barnaby, for coming to the Board of Health meeting on Tuesday. I just want to remind you, though, that the last time that we've had any commission appearance at our Board of Health meetings was in April of 2015. And I know that because I'm the minute taker for the Board of Health, and I went back and checked that. And the reason, obviously, that you were there is because we had an architect from Mountaineer and Mr. Billheimer there presenting their plans for their smoking pavilion to the board. Excellent presentation. It's on an audio. You're welcome to see it if you want. They approved the plans. Mountaineer accepted what was coming up in July of 2015, brought the plans to us. The Board of Health said, that's what we need. That's what fits the definition. They built $1 million smoking pavilion out there. So some of your other comments, I got a question, Mr. Commissioner Barnaby. As you stated, you had a lot of phone calls. I don't really want to know a tally, but I want to know how many, or just roughly what you're thinking about this order, this proposed order. Did somebody actually call you and say that, give you that order and say, hey, I got this great idea. Why don't the county commissioners just overturn the smoking ban? Or the Clean Air Act is what it really is called. I don't think anybody did that. That came from one person. And that one person was Mr. Arnell. Now, going back to the minutes of the meeting, Mr. Arnell came to the Board of Health with this huge, fantastic presentation with this very expensive HVAC system. I'm thinking you all got that same presentation. Excellent, excellent presentation. Our Board of Health, again, looked at all the facts that Jackie just presented to you and said, we are the Board of Health. Even though might not be the most favorable decision, we have to make this decision as the Board of Health for the health of the citizens of Hancock County. So when that didn't go through, now we come through with this big proposed order. From the health department standpoint, I feel like we're being bullied by you guys. That's the only aspect of what the Board of Health does that you're interested in. Just because of the revenue, you're not worried about what goes on with the citizens' health. You're worried just about the revenue. And how much, again I ask, how much of that revenue is going to be put back in just because we open the doors to smoking? You can't put an amount on it. I wish we could, because being from the accounting standpoint, I have a degree in accounting, I would like to see that equation, because I think it would be worth something to really look at. But from the Board of Health standpoint, we have to look at it. When you improve public health, that's when you uplift a community, not when you try and separate yourselves from us. Just one more quick little thing. You talk about due diligence. No, this is addressed to all of you. I'm sorry. We just go back to due diligence. We have to do our due diligence, because according to what Merriam-Webster says, due diligence is that in the care of a person who exercises to avoid harm to other persons. By enacting the Clean Air Act, we are asking to do no harm to citizens. Thank you.
I have to make a comment here, Donna. I think I'm speaking on behalf of the County Commission. You made a statement that the County Commission is bullying the health board. I don't know of any county commissioner here that has approached any health board member in any way, shape, or form and bullied. Can you comment on that a little bit more? Because I take it personal when someone says I bullied them. I never said a word, and I'm sure these gentlemen haven't either. I don't think it's right to get out and throw darts at us when in fact we've said nothing. Now, if you can be more specific, I want you to say it.
If you're talking,
I'm asking you to. I'm referring to the County Commission bullying you, or the board.
The order itself is bullying.
We're not. We didn't pass an order. An order was presented to us. We've taken no action, and you're referring to the County Commission as bullying you. I would like for you to further comment on that.
That could be my interpretation. This Clean Indoor Air Act has been in effect since July of 2015. It has been spoken about, presented, public hearing for 6 to 8 months before that time. And we've had all type of opportunity to have opposition. From the first day forward, we have done nothing but educate people. We have given ample, I don't want to say warnings, to the cafes. We have worked with the people at Mountaineer. Obviously, we're okay with it. I didn't see any type of law in ordering anything at all until 6 weeks ago. Now instead of saying, let's make this a matter of record, the Board of Health is a separate entity, according to what the West Virginia Code. You're going to entertain it. Just the fact that you're going to look at it says that even though we're part of this county, you're not backing us.
We have folks that
And
come
that's
before.
my personal interpretation, that you will not, whether you sign it or not, that's your decision and your legal counsel.
Right, but coming back to what you said, whether it's Mr. Arnaud giving a presentation, Patrick, Nick Busick, any person that comes before the commission, I have not heard anyone get up before this commission, including any of these commissioners, in a meeting or outside of a meeting, and bully or say anything negative towards any of the health board members or the staff. And I just,
I will.
I'm glad that you just clarified that.
I will say
because
that.
that is not true when a person gets up and says,
my personal opinion is that you are backing us into a corner. We have to seek legal representation because there's a possibility of this.
there's a possibility of anything. Okay, all I'm saying is the commission has taken no action at all. The commission has had no discussion about this, so there has been no bullying take place. These are just different opinions that people come before the commission and present. But the commission and the public has not bullied, at least no one here at this meeting has ever bullied. And I'm sorry that you feel that way, but I think any of your health board members or your staff, I hope that they have not felt that they've been bullied, because that certainly has not taken place here in this meeting. So I just want to clarify that.
The only thing I would like to say is, if there was a misinterpretation about what I said at your meeting, and I came to your meeting because I was appointed to serve on that thing in January, so that was the first meeting. And the other one I just attended as a citizen that just got on board. So I'm sorry if they felt that way, and I do see how you feel. So you stand corrected. Terrible. But what I was trying to say the other night is, we are elected, and we represent every citizen of Hancock County. Now, maybe it didn't come across to you that way, but for every person that supports the smoking ban, there is probably a person that doesn't, and then there is probably a person in the middle that would like exemptions. And so when I tell you about the phone calls that I get or the people that you run into, you hear all three dispositions. Okay, so I have to listen to Jane Doe, and I have to listen to John Doe, and I have to listen to Mary Doe, because they elected me. Now, if I turn a dead ear on one, I'm not doing my job. And that, our due diligence is to serve the citizens of Hancock County. And if I said too much again, I'm sorry. And I'm with Mr. Davis. I don't think we've ever bullied you guys. I hope not. And if you have an incident where I did, please let me know. Okay. And I enjoyed sitting through the meeting. I'm not going to say I didn't. And I wasn't going to speak, but I just wanted you guys to know what our positions are up here. Just as we heard from Mr. Busick, we heard from you. We heard from Mr. Arnaud, we heard from Jackie. And we don't turn anybody away. I mean, animal shelters, pros and cons back there, we've heard both. So.
Okay, moving on. Rudy Rosnick.
Rudy Rosnick, RUDY-ROSNICK. I wasn't going to mention this, and I was letting it drop, but you brought up bullying. 2 weeks ago, I had a private meeting with the three commissioners. And the only thing I'll say is that I was bullied. There's no doubt. You had a commissioner that called me names, called me, I'm trying to think of the exact word. An elderly person like you ought to be ashamed of what you're doing. You know, and I watched the other two commissioners let that person try to bully me. And I also challenged the other two commissioners, did they ever once hear me raise my voice in that meeting? It didn't happen. But yet, I was yelled at, screamed at, and the one commissioner left the meeting twice to get a glass of water, came back in. Now, is bullying a way? You can call it bullying, you can call it trying to intimidate somebody. But it does go on, and I can tell you it personally happened to me. You know, and one commissioner did apologize for raising a voice. I wasn't offended by anybody raising my voice. I've had a lot of people raise their voice at, but I was offended by some of the accusations to me. Because as I said in the meeting, the private meeting, and I'll end it at this, I think that adults can talk about, have a difference of opinion on a subject and deal with it professionally and just throw the egos to the side and do what's in the best interest of Hancock County. And I'll leave it there. My topic for today, though, is I'm going back to June, a decision that this commission made in June. On July 1st, you took ownership of the animal shelter. And you promised to run the shelter better than a nonprofit that had run the shelter for over 19 years. I want you to please take responsibility for your decision and do not insult our intelligence by trying to say, well, the nonprofit would not sign the contract. Because I think you've heard enough presentations over the last 6 months as to why the nonprofit would not sign a contract. Anybody that is humane about or believes in the care of animals would have never signed that contract. And I'll end that with the contract. But what I want to do today is just take a look at the facts regarding the first 6 months that you operated the shelter. And based upon a Freedom of Information Act, again, I've been told, well, you're not really telling the truth all the time. You're comparing apples to oranges. Well, I don't. Every time I come here, I'm dealing with factual information which I normally receive from Freedom of Information Act. Good example, this is a spreadsheet, you're all aware of it, Mr. Vitus is aware of it, where they track every animal that they intake at the shelter. I'm just going to talk now about the period of July 1 through the end of December. That's your first 6 months of operation out there. And what you end up seeing is the intake of animals at that shelter was 614. Since 107 of them were transferred to these facilities that I referenced in previous presentations that you have no contract with, we're going to take those out. We're going to talk about the 507 that you kept out there and had ownership of. And of the 507, if you look at the spreadsheet, your information, it shows that in that 6 months, your first 6 months, 29 were euthanized by a vet, and 24 were destroyed by the management of the shelter. That adds up to 53. And again, I asked the question in a previous meeting about who made the decision to start destroying animals out at the shelter. I asked, was it the commission? I asked, was it Mr. Vitus? I asked, was it the acting director? I've never received an answer to that question. But when you look at the 53 that were destroyed, that equals to 10.5% euthanasia rate, if you want to call all those euthanasias. 10.5%. The nonprofit before that, for the previous calendar year, had a 5% rate and had a target for the upcoming year to 3. You're at 10.5%. And you just started destroying animals November the 10th. Additionally, 73 of the 507 died after shelter management took ownership. That's 14.5%. 14.5% of the animals that you take ownership of die. That's nothing to be proud of. And that's not running it better than the nonprofit before. Additionally, as a taxpayer, we did clarify at the meeting 2 weeks ago that the budget number that was there for running the shelter was $202,000. That's what was in your budget. That number was established before you decided you were taking ownership. So you have a $202,000 budget. As of the end of the year, you have spent there $105,500, it's really 600 and something, which means you've spent the whole budget. And again, your documents, not mine. That's where the numbers are coming from. So if you've spent, that was December. So by the end of January, you have to have spent your whole budget out there by now. Or else you shift the money around. Maybe your sheriff's department donated $100,000, or maybe 911's donate. I don't know where, but it does verify what I've been saying for 6 months about you will spend close to $200,000 extra taxpayer dollars in running that shelter that we wouldn't have had to spend if you didn't make the decision that you made July 1st. Additionally, anybody that runs a business would look at this one number and just say, this is crazy. You paid over $4,200 in overtime to shelter management in that first 6 months period. You're over budget and you're paying overtime? That amount of money to 1 or 2 people? It doesn't make any sense. You know, so, and I'm not trying to, I know some of you feel very uncomfortable, and you should. I'm just trying to hold you accountable. I'm not trying to be argumentative with you. I'm not. I'm just saying that I think a bad decision was made in July. You see Jefferson County, you know, in 2014, they took their animal shelter, they turned it over to a nonprofit, they cut their budget $200,000. You went the opposite direction. And all I'm saying is that as a taxpayer, I would like to see you do what's best for those animals and what's also fiscally sound management of that shelter. Now, at the end of the meetings, you always go around and you talk. Well, you can sit there and you can spend your time trying to say what a bad person Rudy Rosnick is. Or you can take 30 seconds and explain to the public and the taxpayers, you know, here in this citizen, how are you going to solve this problem that you created back in July? Because that's all people's been asking you for 6 months. Tell us how you're going to solve this problem. We're paying $200,000, you know, no matter what. I mean, because it's going to take time to change. But I've said from day one, if we just put all of our egos to the side and do what's in the best interest of Hancock County, I really believe this whole issue could be resolved in 2 hours. I thank you very much for your attention.
Rudy, I'd like to comment to you as well today.
Okay.
All right. You came in here on January 26th, early in the AM hours, and you had a meeting with us, correct?
Yes, I did.
And then you left, and you came back for our commission meeting.
Yep.
And I think the record would reflect that you said that I conducted myself very well with you that morning.
You did.
And a minute ago, you threw a dart at me, and you said I was out of control.
No, I didn't.
And you said that one of us got up and left and got a drink of water twice, and that may have been me, and I'm drinking water again today.
No, it
okay?
was not you.
Okay.
It wasn't
But,
you, Mr. Davis. I said I had.
but my point of it is, okay, one day I'm a nice guy, and the next day I'm not a nice guy,
I
okay?
never criticized you.
Well, my point is, I'm very comfortable in sitting here talking to you, whether you're at a meeting or when we're not at a meeting. And you're not going to insult my intelligence by sitting here. Okay, you can get up, and 1 minute we're nice guys, and next minute we're not a nice guy, and so on. But again, I have never bullied you as well. Okay, and you said that we bullied you the day of the meeting. You said that we bullied you.
I didn't say we.
We meaning the commission.
Yes.
Yes.
You all are part of the commission.
I did
And
not
if
bully
one
you that
does it
day.
and the other two sit there and allow them to, I believe
Yeah,
violence is
right.
promoted.
I would like to finish. You had your time to talk, and I didn't interrupt you. And I'm just clearly
Okay, I
trying to make a
apologize
point.
if I'm interrupting.
You got up and you made a point, and when you mentioned the commission, I am not going to sit here any day and let anyone take a shot at me. Okay? If you're going to take a shot at me, you better be well in stride in what you're talking about. You get up and you said that you were commenting on a bullying comment, and you said that we bullied you that morning. Well, my point of it is, I didn't bully you because you came back that afternoon and said I conducted myself well. Now, 1 minute I'm bullying you, the next minute I'm not. I'm just saying, get your facts straight when you start making personal attacks and comments about the commission. Because if you're going to make a direct comment towards one of the commissions, make your comment towards that person. Don't make it towards the commission because you're labeling all three of us. That's all I have to say to you.
I was the bully. I was the bully. And the reason I got upset is an action that you took because you have stood up here for 7 consecutive months and tell us how much you care about the animals and how to maintain euthanasia at its minimum. And you called a facility that we work with, and you said you were the one that called that facility. Or you took ownership for calling a facility that we deal with, telling them you're dealing with the animal shelter that does euthanasia, and tried to force your power upon that fella who ended up hanging up on you. So bullying goes 2 ways. Okay, you had your turn, I didn't. Okay, I'm the one that got out and got 2 drinks of water because I knew I was upset. Okay, and I wanted to do what I'm supposed to do: leave the room, collect your thoughts, and get back. Okay, and the other thing is, Mr. Davis, Commissioner Davis, asked you at least 6 times, "What is your goal?"
And I told you.
No, I don't believe you ever give a conclusive goal. It was always but.
Did I,
Okay.
Mr. Davis, did I answer your question when you said it?
I honestly don't remember how many questions I asked you, Rudy.
If your goal was to get the two groups together and work it out, maybe that's what your goal was, because you said we can do this, we can do that, and all that. The bottom line is that group said they would not sign a contract that had a euthanasia clause in it. The euthanasia clause is state ordered. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Mr. Lucas. All you were doing was
Has to be acknowledged.
has to be acknowledged because it is a taxpayer-run facility. It's not a humane center where you could just take animals and keep them forever. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. Again.
Okay.
And I
that's-
still apologize for getting hot. And I won't apologize for walking out because I think I did the right thing because my temper was taking over. My emotions were getting the best of me.
Mr. Barnaby,
Because I've known you for so long.
Your apology for raising your voice, as I stated earlier, wasn't the problem.
I'm sorry for
What
bullying.
you said to me and the way you talked to me.
I
Are you,
I
done, are
acknowledge
you
it.
done, Joe, with your comments? Okay. We're going to move on. For the good of the order, Karen, do you have anything to come before the commission today?
No, sir. I'll just be distributing the elected officials' budget packets tomorrow so we can get started on the next fiscal year.
Very good. Mr. Lucas?
Briefly, I'll follow up on something Mr. Barnaby said. The facility that we utilize and Mr. Rosnick contacted and criticized the shelter. I think, and maybe Mr. Vidas can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it has adopted out, or at least taken in, a total of 38 animals from that facility. That is, the 38 animals that are, if they are adopted out, and because they're exposed to another population segment, they reduces their chances of euthanasia because they have a greater chance of adoption. Also, when they're at that facility, it reduces taxpayer expense because the county is not having to pay for those animals. So what is ironic is that Mr. Rosnick wants to reduce euthanasia. He wants to reduce taxpayer expense, and yet he took an action that could have potentially increased euthanasia and it certainly would have increased taxpayer expense. It makes no sense. And Mr. Barnaby, I don't blame you one bit for being hot. I don't think you have anything to apologize for. That's just me.
Mr. Vidas?
I sit here week after week, meeting after meeting, and I listen. And today I have to take exception. Our intake is 614 animals. 107 were transferred. A transfer in those animals' lives is as good as an adoption. It is not in a cage at our shelter. It is not being put to sleep. So to discount the 107 transfers is wrong on your part. We took in 614 animals. We have euthanized 24 at the shelter. If you look at that list that I give you and you read the comments or the condition, you will see that several of those have had prolapse rectums. Several of them have been run over by cars. We don't euthanize for space. We don't euthanize because we want to get rid of the animal. We're euthanizing for a reason. And every one of those is listed. So read what I give you and take it to heart. That's all I have to say.
Jeremy?
I don't have anything to
Chief?
The other thing I got to comment on is Hancock County and the city of New Cumberland lost an outstanding citizen with the passing of Mr. John Cujo.
Thank you. Valerie, clerk's office?
Nothing today.
Commissioner Cowie?
I'd like to first of all thank Mary for her service that as a greeter downstairs. We're going to miss her, but for circumstances, she isn't able to continue to work, continue on, and also to pass on my condolences to the family of Mr. Cusio and his family.
Jackie from the health department. I didn't call on you because I thought maybe you had already
I already
said.
took care
I
of
thought
it.
you'd said that. You want to say? Go ahead.
Just to let you know, food school tonight at the Chester City Building at 5 p.m. After that, at 6 p.m., we're providing Narcan training to the general public and some of the police departments, I do. Thursday, the 16th, at the Weirton Library at 10 and 6 will be food handler classes also. Also, I got notification right before coming over here from the USDA Wildlife Service that they're going to be spraying some pesticides February 13th through the 17th in the Newell area for some Starlink control. So residents might see it, want to know what's going on, so I thought I would share that information. And we have shingles available for $30 for West Virginia residents over 60.
Commissioner Barnaby.
I said my 2 comments. However, with some good of the order, I'd like to wish Joanna Petaway good luck in her new endeavors up here at the courthouse. I know who she is from the mill, but I don't know her personally. And best wishes to Mary in whatever becomes of her with her retirement, and hopefully that she's well enough to enjoy the days ahead of her. There are a lot of things I'd like to say, and I'm not going to say them.
Say it. We're on new tape now. For another hour.
I can say this. The animal shelter is being run very well according to the reports that we have been receiving. We are not in door-to-door, day-to-day operation of the shelter, nor are we there on a daily basis. But the reports that we are getting seems that it's very run very well, and I'm happy to report that. They're doing a fine job up there. And yeah, they're over the curve now, so maybe things will tame down expense-wise. That I don't know. It takes money to run it, and we all knew that, and that's where we're at. So,
Bless you.
Salute. That's it, Mr. Davis. Commissioner Davis.
With us today, we have Leadership Weirton. A few ladies would like to come up and introduce yourself and tell us what the company you work with.
Hi, my name is Amy Freeney Cunningham, and I work for Laudamus Communications and Security.
And I'm Amanda Coppinger, and I work for Hancock County Savings Bank in our Chester office.
Welcome, ladies. Thank you. Both will be making the trip to Charleston a couple weeks?
Yes.
2 weeks? Great. Thank you. Appreciate you coming. The only thing I'd like to mention on today is it was sad to see Mr. Cusio pass away today. He's the oldest alder board that I knew, 96 years old, and still going strong. So he'll certainly be missed. He comes from a great family. He has a great family, and I'd also like to thank many of you folks here who paid their respects to my father, who passed away a week ago Monday, and appreciate all that you did. In saying that, I will accept a motion that we adjourn until February the 16th at 2:30, which is next Thursday.
Move to approve.
We are adjourned.